Some of the most basic fire safety things that the homeowners or renters or anybody living inside of a home can have are your smoke detectors. Smoke detectors will give you time to get out of a fire if it does happen. Another thing you can have is a fire extinguisher, which can extinguish a fire when it's small. So having that handy somewhere away from the stove. Most fires in homes today start in the kitchen. So if you have it underneath your cabinet and the stove's right next to the cabinet, the fire is going to be there, you're not going to be able to get to it. So make sure your fire extinguisher is away from the kitchen, or at least away from the stove, so you can get it and put the fire out. And another thing you can have inside your home that is another life-saving thing that really has nothing to do with fire, but it's incomplete combustion of something burning, which is carbon monoxide detectors. So anything that's a fossil fuel that burns inside your home is producing carbon monoxide. Home heating oil, natural gas, propane, those types of things are going to be producing carbon monoxide. This will give you a chance to detect that material before it knocks you unconscious and then leads up to death if it gets bad enough. Well, the best thing everybody can do in their home is have an escape plan for almost every room. So every room that you're in, you always want to have a minimum of 2 exits out of there. So every room, the primary exit's going to be the way you went into that room. Down the steps and outside, or up the steps and outside. That's going to be your primary way. The secondary way is probably going to be windows in most homes. Now there are some older homes that have rear doors or garage doors. You could go out them as plan B. But if you can't get down and say the fire's on the first floor and you're on the second, you can't get to either door because they're both on the first floor. So you want to have a plan for the windows. All right, that's going to be your second way out most of the time on the second floor. So you want to be able to have a window to get out of. Maybe that's going out onto a porch roof. All right, that could be one option. Maybe the other option is to go to a home store and buy what's called an escape ladder. You can hang those from the windowsill and then you can climb down the ladder to escape the fire. So that's having that plan in place and knowing what it is, because in a time of an emergency, that's not the time to plan. The time to plan is prior to the emergency. So with space heaters, the first thing you really want to look at is make sure they're UL tested, which is Underwriter Laboratories. Make sure they're safe. All right, that's one of the first things you want to do is make sure they're safe. And then when you are using them, all the safety factors that you can get into the new ones are great. Tilt over. If they start to notice that they're falling or going to fall over, they automatically shut off. So that's a great feature. Another thing with space heaters is, make sure we're at least 6 feet from anything that burns. So put it in the middle of your room. Don't stack it right next to the couch or your TV stand or those types of materials, because they, over time, that heat will start to what's called degradation. It starts to break it down, and when that furniture starts to break down, even a low amount of heat will make it start to burn. First it'll start to smolder, then it'll start to free burn. So you want to keep that material away from having that break down and potentially starting a fire over time. If you're going to be doing some kind of bonfire or campfire in your backyard, you have to make sure that your local ordinances allow you to have them. So you have to have, in Columbia, you're allowed to have them, but it's by permit only. So what happens is you ask for a permit to be able to have a burn, campfire in your backyard, and the ordinance makes our codes officials come out and inspect it. So a couple things that they're looking for. We're looking for them to be so many feet from a structure or anything that burns. The sides have to be protected so it can't actually catch the grass on fire and run across the yard and then catch your fence or your house on fire. So that's another thing. And another thing we look for is you can have a garden hose there, all right, or a bucket of water. So if the fire does get out of its container, you can put it out with the bucket of water or the garden hose, and never leave it unattended. When you're there, great. When you're done or you're going in for the night, put that bucket of water on it, run the garden hose on it for a little while. Make sure that fire's out and don't leave it unattended.